To optimize the IM-5000, we want to line the bulb, set the field diaphragm and the aperture diaphragm, as well as defocus with the condenser lens. To optimize the light through the optical system, first thing we want to do is we want to make sure that the light bulb is aligned. Now the light bulb, by pressing these two levers here, will allow it to pull out. So what we want to do as a rough measurement is we want to have this aligned to about the center of this lens here. Now in many cases that might be sufficient enough, but if you really want to optimize the light, what you're going to need to do is you're going to need to take off the lamp housing and remove this cover plate here. And what we want to do with the light on low intensity, you can see we have the ground glass slide in place, or the ground glass filter in place, and we want to make sure that the light is centered on that. If it's not centered at the low intensity, you should be able to touch the bulb for a few seconds, but what you want to do is you want to rotate that or align that so that this is lined up pretty much in the center. That will give us the optimum light bulb adjustment going into the system. Adjusting the field diaphragm. By pulling out this lever here, we can reduce the iris on the field diaphragm. Once we have that reduced, we can now center it. So there's a knob here and a knob here. So let's go ahead and turn these until we have it centered. And after we have it centered, what we want to do is we want to push the lever back in so that we're just outside the field of view. This will reduce any stray light within the system. To align the aperture diaphragm, what we want to do is we want to use the 50x objective and remove one of the eyepieces. So looking down the eyepiece and using a low light intensity, what we want to do is we want to adjust the field aperture so that as we move the iris in and out, it moves equally. What I find is the best way to do this is to actually focus onto the diaphragm so that you can see the edges of the diaphragm. And then when you move it in and out, you can see the edges moving. And if you need to make an adjustment to align it, there's two set screws on the side of the lamp housing, one on each side. And by adjusting that, we can center the diaphragm. After we've optimized the light path, what we want to do is we want to now defocus or diffuse the light. We can do this a number of ways. One is we can add a ground glass filter or rotate the turret to the ground glass turret. We can also use this condenser lens adjustment here. So by pressing this in, that will defocus the light or make it a little bit more uniform. The next thing we can do is we can adjust the aperture diaphragm to optimize the contrast. You can see here that we actually are now bringing out features in the structure that we didn't see before. The aperture diaphragm is very useful for higher magnifications and increasing the contrast.